Agencies Drinking Beer is brought to you by Proposify, software that helps you deliver beautiful proposals in the cloud and close more deals.
Welcome to the 52nd episode of Agencies Drinking Beer. On today's show, we're interviewing Will Gadea from IdeaRocket, an animation company from New York City. And we'll be talking about brand Nazis and why brand consistency can sometimes be counterproductive. Well done. Was that your Bee Gees? You do a good Bee Gees.
Yeah, if I wear the tight pants. I'm wearing tight pants right now.
Yeah, that sounded like a cross between your Bee Gees voice and your Neil Young voice.
With the Neil Young voice, I gotta.
You have to plug your nose.
Yeah.
Okay, do a little old man look
I
at my...
wanna live.
No, do old man look at my life.
Old man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you were.
Beautiful. Well, let's just get into the interview.
It's done.
That's done.
Can't
that
top
was everything.
that. You can't top that. Come on.
No, that was good. I don't think we have a lot to talk about this time.
No, but I do want to say.
Oh no! Don't bring that up.
Oh, I have to.
You're making me blush.
Well, the Time magazine released an article yesterday on my co-founder, Kyle Recchi.
I'm just telling people that I'm now Times Man of the Year.
Sexiest man of the year.
That's how I've translated the fact that they did an article on us. That was really cool. Well, what's the name of that article, Kevin? You don't remember
the exact article?
What's the exact headline of that?
Jeez, I know it had to do with tenacity. And about going through hell for the first year.
How this startup founder triumphed over his year of hell. And your picture's in there too.
I know.
Yeah, no, it's very bizarre seeing a picture of us underneath the banner for Time magazine. Really weird.
It's a little surreal.
I'm sure what people are wondering, which a lot have asked me, is how did that come about?
Well, the good news there is we did not solicit that. They came to us.
I know.
No, amazing.
We saved a lot on PR agency fees.
Exactly. No, I as a matter of fact, I remember when did they call you or they contact Jen?
No, it was me.
Yeah, you, and I know you mentioned it, and my first thing was like, yeah, right, that's someone's playing a host. It's definitely not real.
Yeah. No, it was real. But so I was on a podcast. I was a guest on somebody else's podcast called From Founder to CEO. And that was Todd. Actually, he was on our show too, wasn't he? Yes, I think he was. Maybe not. Okay, let me just do a quick check. You guys should check it out anyway. It's a really good podcast, and it's got a very big listener base, much more than this rinky-dink podcast. Todd Uterstadt, Uterstaedt. Utterstedt. Oh, okay. Check out From Founder to CEO. It's a really good podcast. So he was kind enough to have me on it as a guest, and he has a very soothing voice. He sort of you put me under a trance and started asking about all these personal things, and I just spilled the beans. So I talked about the year before we launched the Proposify MVP, and just a lot of bad things happened that year. My father died, and I had sort of exited a cult, which I've written a blog post on before. Won't get too much into that. You can read it in the article. But anyway, talked a little bit about that, and then somebody from Time Magazine reached out, and they heard the podcast and wanted to feature it in an article. So it was kind of cool.
That writer was fantastic too.
Yeah, you really got the gist of it. Boiled it down. So yes, I mean, takeaway there is a couple of weeks ago we had Paul Boag on, and he talked about how he built his brand by basically just saying yes. Like when they said, "Did you want to speak at a conference?" I'm sure. Okay, I've never done that before. Do you want to write a book? Oh, okay, sure. Just saying yes, and then
and also being transparent and real.
People
that
helps
want
too.
Yeah.
Well, because if we had pitched Time Magazine or any sort of big media outlet and said, "Oh, we want you to do a story on how cool our software is. It saves time writing proposals." I mean, what can you imagine? Like
your crickets.
Yeah. So, anyway, yeah. So just get yourself out there. Actually, this is a good segue to say you should be a guest on our podcast. We're always looking for great guests. And even just suggestions. If you don't want to be a guest, let us know, what you're interested in. Especially if you're an agency owner, what kind of things you're struggling with, or things that you think that we could maybe help with or get a guest on to help. Please reach out and let us know. I know you love questions, Kevin.
I do.
So, with no further ado, let's now move on to our great interview with Will Gadea of IdeaRocket. I'd like to welcome Will Gadea to the show. Will is the founder and creative director of IdeaRocket, an award-winning animation company based out of New York City with a focus on explainer videos. IdeaRocket's clients include Verizon, the New York Knicks, Showtime, and Bank of America. Welcome to the show, Will.
Hi, Kevin and Kyle.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so we've got some things we want to talk about, but maybe just give us kind of a little background on how you started IdeaRocket, how long you guys have been around, and sort of what you're up to.
Yeah, sure. I started this pretty late in my life. I was a playwright originally in New York, and I guess I just kind of fell out of love with my day job and just wanted to start doing something creative for my day job. And what that was animation, and started working in places like MTV, Word World, children's television, Speed Racer, The Next Generation, and I started learning about the animation pipeline and how things work there. And eventually, when you're an entrepreneur, when you have that in your blood, you kind of start getting itchy and you want to start something of your own. And I started working as a freelancer and pulling in other freelancers to collaborate with me. And then at one point, I just kind of made the push and got a space in one of these co-working spaces and hired a sales guy to help me. And that was back in about 4 years ago. And we've been growing pretty steadily now. We've got 7 employees and, about a dozen freelancers that we work with on a regular basis.
Cool. Do you find, so when you had in the past were working for companies like MTV and whatnot, were you able to leverage the relationships that you had when you were out working and sort of use any of those connections to kind of help grow your client list for your own company?
Not on the client side, but the connections on the creative side were very valuable for me. In fact, one of the guys I hired was from my first job, and a lot of the other people I know I work with at some point in children's television or a little bit of commercials I was working on as well. So that kind of network of people in the animation world was really, really helpful for me.
I know what every agency owner out there wants to, well, I shouldn't say every, but many want to kind of go after the bigger clients and sort of the more well-known, well-respected names. And you guys obviously have quite a few on your roster. So, I mean, I guess what do you credit for? Is it maybe where you live, just kind of being around some of those companies like Showtime and the New York Knicks? Has the location helped you? Or, I mean, how have you sort of gone about building those relationships with those kind of clients?
A lot of things happened for our studio because we became known as a premium provider of whiteboard animation. We did the show open for the 8th season of Weeds. And we've done some commercials for Eastlink, the up your way, and commercials for some other companies, for the New York Rangers. And I think when you kind of get known for one thing, you're likelier to be noticed, by the big boys. What I will say, it's definitely sort of a double-edged sword. When we work with a young tech company, it's great because you can talk directly to the owners and you can really interact with their strategy, and they're agile. They make decisions quickly, and you have a very direct relationship. When you're working with a Fortune 500, it's much more likely to be a committee. It's much more likely to be drawn out. They're much more likely to have like net 75 or net 90 payment terms. So that's the downside. The upside is that, any of these big companies could make dozens of videos. And the cost of acquisition of each piece of business is going to be much less because it's just spread out over more of them. So I kind of like both. I think there's a real charge that you get from working with a big brand, and it's interesting to be talking to people that are working in the great companies of the world and really kind of shaping their strategies. But it's also nice to just talk to the young agile companies that are changing the world their way too.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see where working with smaller companies gives you probably more freedom, and you can maybe be a little bit more creative in some ways too, because they're more open to change or crazy innovative stuff that maybe the bigger companies would be a little too conservative to try out.
Well, we can relate, actually, Kyle. I mean, we had a small agency, and we didn't have the brands you have, but we had government, which was the same idea.
Yeah, less impressive name.
Yeah. Well, we had tourism. We did tourism for one of the provinces, and like you said, it can be challenging, and we definitely liked our smaller clients. I think when it came to being, having artistic license and being able to be creative and work directly with the founders, I completely get that.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, so you mentioned beforehand that you actually use marketing, use online marketing like SEO and PPC as a way to kind of drive leads for your business, which is very interesting because a lot of agencies don't do that, right? It's a lot more outbound direct sales or just relationship building, or maybe, getting client referrals. So how do you guys use like SEO and AdWords and that kind of stuff to fuel your business?
Yeah, it's funny. I think, when you're marketing a small business, you kind of have to try what works for you, because if something works for me, it might not work for you. I was the kind of guy that could, pick up a big fat book about AdWords and really nerd out on it and really kind of, get into the idea of AdWords as almost like a sort of like a social experiment, the way you can test an account and optimize it. And that was really, frankly, what gave me my business was AdWords. And it's still a big challenge. And I mean, it's still a big part of our mix. So it's something that works for me. We're starting to do a little bit of Facebook, and it runs hot and cold, but it's promising too, and it's kind of related to the way you work on an AdWords account. And we've been trying to do SEO too, and that of course is also, like witch doctor. It's a little bit harder to kind of get to know what is actually making the difference. You know what I mean? It's a little harder to kind of you kind of just have to make educated guesses, really.
Yeah, we use AdWords and Facebook. We actually don't do it ourselves in house. We have a local agency that kind of manages our ad spend, and I don't think Kevin or I have our heads in it too much. We kind of look at the high level results, but I know those guys are just like constantly experimenting with keywords and turning off things that aren't performing and trying to like drive down cost per click and all that kind of stuff, and trying to target things better. It's like it's a big job to do that, and you kind of pick that up and run with it and do it mostly yourself. Hey.
Well, yeah, I will say that if I had that challenge now, I probably wouldn't be up to it, frankly, because I'm just too busy. I think we creatives think rightly that you need to be passionate about the creative to do it well. But I think what we don't acknowledge sometimes is that the people in the business functions have to have passion to do what they do well too. And I think what you guys are doing is smart. If you can't really wrap your head around it and be passionate about doing pay-per-click well, then yeah, you should outsource it to somebody that can, or find somebody, get somebody on staff that has some a passion and just kind of desire to dominate it, to do it well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm curious for you guys where you're using AdWords and starting to get into Facebook and stuff. What sort of things are you trying to optimize for? What kind of leads are you trying to generate? Are you looking for people who are kind of interested in getting an explainer video, or is it more targeted in terms of like a particular company size or a particular job role at a company? Like, kind of who is your target client that you're going after?
Well, I think one of the challenges you have with pay per click is that it's got a ceiling. It's not scalable infinitely. So to answer your question, it's a little bit of an all of the above kind of situation for us now, because yes, we are trying to kind of reach out to verticals like healthcare or finance, because we've had some luck with them in the past. Yes, we're also kind of reaching out based on techniques. Yes, we're kind of reaching out based on uses, training videos or educational videos, etc. So yes, I think it's kind of like a multi-pronged approach, really.
Interesting. Yeah, I would think, and maybe it's a wrong assumption, that when you're I'll use ourselves as an example. So where we run online advertising, I think mostly get kind of the smaller businesses who, will say download a free guide or, maybe check out one of our free templates, and then we kind of nurture them into becoming a customer. But as we start to look at selling, more upstream into bigger businesses, the assumption is that, maybe pay-per-click isn't the way to get those customers. Maybe it's something else like outbound direct sales or, what have you. So I guess if you're going after a big fish, Fortune 500, do you think that that's something that you could use online advertising for, or do you just think about those clients completely differently and go after those guys in a different way?
No, I mean, for us, pay-per-click has been what has won us the big clients. Everybody uses search, it seems. So yeah, I don't think there's a differentiation there for us between the big companies and the small companies. It's all kind of, right now, it's, I'd say 95, well, I'd say about 50% of our business is repeat. But of the new business, most of it, the vast majority of it is through search engine marketing.
That's awesome. And that's really uncommon too. At least I found in people we've talked to that run agencies, it's not typically the marketing channel that most agencies find their business from. So that's really awesome to hear that you guys are seeing some results from that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of excited to hear you say that, because it's running a creative business is a little bit like sex. You don't see other people doing it, so you don't really know whether you're doing it right. So I just kind of
where does porn sit
just
in
kind
this
of
metaphor? Agency porn.
Well, if it was porn, that would actually be like teaching you how to do it wrong, because people in porn do stuff that normal people don't.
That's right. Yeah. How do we stretch this metaphor further? Okay.
So when you guys say that, I'm kind of going, well, maybe I should get like a salesperson that's good at outbound, and I can kind of widen the mix that way, because when you depend on something like AdWords, you kind of you get a little bit of paranoid. Is there going to be a big player that's going to suddenly enter and double the cost of my acquisition? It's hard to know.
Mm. Well, I think the key is to not rely on one channel itself. Like we're using our example again, and of course we don't run an agency anymore, but AdWords and PPC are not the main way that we get our business from. It's just one channel that drives it in. The other, there's content, there's just, stuff you can't really control, like people referring it, other than just trying to, like you guys doing good work and having other people, recommend you and having repeat business. That's probably the best channel, and something that nobody else can really come and take away from you. So I think it's just a matter of being, okay, this channel's working, let's optimize it, but also let's look at some other ones and kind of see how we can diversify it, right?
And obviously what you're doing,
absolutely.
Obviously what you're doing, well, it's working, right? I mean, you guys are kicking ass, so just keep doing it.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about this because I'm very curious. You said you have a rant about brand Nazis. I want to hear about this.
Well, look, we had an experience recently, and this is something that I'm sure happens regularly at every creative agency, where the client comes to you and says, this isn't really consistent with our brand. And, it wasn't any of the big things like colors. It was subtle stuff like textures that weren't included in the style guide. But I just started thinking, what is this thing called branding? And in my mind, it's kind of like a mental handle. If you're looking at a supermarket shelf or in a street or on the web, you're seeing it might be a narrative, it might be a personality, it might be a visual style, but something that's kind of associated with the benefits of a product. And you can kind of put the mental handle on those benefits and differentiate that product from the other products and choose that product, right? I mean, branding isn't something that is a good in and of itself. There's a business purpose to it. So when you get a B2B company and their visual identity is corporate blue, and it's Arial font, and it's vectorized icons, that's pretty much the visual identity of every B2B company ever. That's Salesforce, that's IBM, that's it goes on. And there's a good reason why, right? Because, blue has certain psychological connotations that feel safe and secure, and you want to trust a B2B company with a big project. So I guess where I'm going with this is, if brand consistency is flattening your brand expression, then it's not serving to differentiate your product. And let's get back to what it's all about. It's about product differentiation.
Yeah. It's funny because I agree with you. I was actually on a call last week with somebody who just wanted some advice about their homepage for their SaaS product, and they wanted like my design recommendations, and one of them was like like the color's really bad. It's like this very staid, old school kind of like burgundy thing that it feels like it should be part of a bank or something. And it doesn't. Maybe try something else or maybe brighten it up if you want it to look better, right? So that was my recommendation, and he goes, well, that's our brand color. And this was a small company. I said, okay, well, who controls your brand? Who makes the decisions about your brand? He was like, I guess I do. I'm like, okay, so you can change it. And it was, that idea that like once you set that brand, you can't ever change it or think outside of,
Right.
So I agree completely.
Yeah, and we're going through a brand refresh now. I appreciate that there's a certain collateral, invested in a brand. When we're doing our brand refresh, we're looking at our logo and we're saying, okay, we're going to streamline this. We're going to make it look a little bit, more modern, less fussy, but we're still going to, keep the basic outline of our logo and the lettering. When we're looking at the color, we might tweak the orange a little bit, but we kind of think that we have a certain collateral. But I guess my thing is, let's keep on tracing these things to business objectives rather than sort of think that they're an end in themselves.
Mm-hmm. Another example that I think backs up what you're saying is with our product Proposify, we built it mainly for creative agencies who traditionally use InDesign to make really nice looking proposals, but don't have all kind of the nice efficiencies of working in the cloud and sharing content and library and templates and all that good stuff, online signatures. So we use the Google font library because there's, I think, 700 or so fonts that you can choose from and use it, and it'll print in a PDF, and it's great. Google Fonts isn't the best online font library. There's ones out there like Typekit that have better fonts, and most sort of designers and marketers prefer those. But every now and then we'll get a customer who goes, our brand font is like this, and you guys don't have that. Can I upload my own fonts, or, can you use Typekit? And there's just technical reasons why you can't. So you're like, well, maybe just go through the Google font library and find one that's close enough. And then sometimes they'll say, well, that's our brand. It has to be exactly the right font or we can't use it. So they'll like throw away all the efficiencies that could, be made for their business because it's not, because the T doesn't have, it's not quite long enough in the, Google font library. You know what I mean? It's kind of like see the forest for the trees a little bit, right?
Yeah, no, I see that completely. And actually, that was when, because we tried a competitor of yours before we came on to you. And I think that visual presence and the customizability of Proposify was one of the things that really drew us to it.
Yeah, that's good. And do you find, like, I suppose too, like where you guys are doing animation, that opens up a lot in terms of creativity of what you guys can do. So it sounds like, especially if you go after, or if you have a client that is maybe larger and more, established in terms of their brand, do you have to fight a lot with the client, or I guess, make your case to say like, here's where I want to just break the mold and sort of go off brand? Is that kind of like a discussion that comes up a lot with your clients?
I wouldn't say so. I think if from the first discussion, what the feeling is about the brand and how faithful they want you to be to it, you can kind of adjust. And there's always this sort of this balance, because on the one hand, you want to be really frank and give the client, your best opinions, your most considered opinions in an unvarnished way. And on the other hand, there has to be a certain sense of humility there that, they do know their customers better than you do, and they do know their product better than you do. So, that they're going to know what's right for them too. So I think it's balancing those two impulses that's important in our work.
Yeah. Where you, I guess kind of your main bread and butter is explainer videos. Do you see yourself, I guess, where do you want to go with your business? Are you, do you want to widen the list of services? Because I know you've worked on the Weed Show, doing the intro. Do you kind of want to break off and do more television kind of stuff? Or, I guess, where do you see the business going?
Yeah, I want us to broaden the offerings. Whiteboard has been sort of a meal ticket for us, but at the same time, we do 2D animation really well, and we're starting to do more and more 3D. I think when we really fill out our portfolio, that'll be pretty much all the major forms of animation minus stop motion, which is a little trickier and harder to handle. So I want to keep on doing that. Maybe get into live action. I think we have some good relationships with clients, and I would just kind of love to broaden the offerings that way. One of our clients is Kimberly Clark, and Kimberly Clark has one of their former CEOs had this principle that there's 4 ways of growing: sell more stuff to more people for more money more often. And for me, that's kind of like a brilliant distillation. So selling more stuff, meaning just increasing your product offering to more people, just increasing your market penetration. For more money, just either moving to more premium products or increasing the ticket price. More often, just increasing the requirements. And really, when you come right down to it, that there are only 4 ways of growing your revenue, and that kind of cuts it all down. And for us, it's widening that product offering. It's the first one.
Yeah. It's very difficult to do all 4, because then you can quickly kind of bloat and become too general. It's so weird when you focus on one thing for one customer. You tend to sell more and more often, or maybe for more money. And then as soon as you try to expand and offer more products or services to a vastly different market, that's where it can be a trap. It can be done well, but it's something I know we're always cognizant of here, and where we want to make sure that we don't, we don't start shotgunning, because it's, it can be a trap that can hurt you as well as help you.
Yeah, no, I think that's right, and I wonder about it myself. Whether generalizing the offerings too much is a mistake, that we might kind of lose that power of specialization, that focus, that a strategic focus. But at the same time, I guess I see a big opportunity, which is, video is pretty. Web video is still in its infancy. 2006 was when YouTube first came out, so it's only been 10 years. We haven't really come to a mature point where we know all the uses of video. And it just seems to me that these big companies are going to be needing video, not just to market, but also to communicate with their employees. And if they do, then I think some sort of one-stop shop that kind of can fill many needs and can kind of create a symbiosis between the different techniques and integrate them easily, I think that would have great value. So, it's a debate I have in my mind. So I don't know where that comes out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys are certainly, it sounds like you're on track to hit those goals, and, the type of clients you have, the work that you're doing is amazing. So, I mean, I wish you the best of luck as you go about kind of growing and expanding.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. It's been wonderful having you on the show, Will. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Hey, and Will, I'm going to I'm from the Boston area originally, and I did some work in New York over the years in the entertainment business. So Kyle's been dying to get down there. So hopefully we'll get there in the fall. We'll have to definitely hook up for Bevy.
Yeah. Let's have a drink or lunch. That sounds great.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, enjoy the rest of your Friday, and thanks again for being on.
Thank you, Kevin and Kyle.
All right. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Agencies Drinking Beer. If you enjoyed it, we'd appreciate it if you rate and or review us on the iTunes Store. If you have a story or lesson to share with other agency owners and managers from around the world, hit us up. Just email Kyle or Kevin at proposify.biz. And also, if you write business proposals and you want to make that process a whole lot easier and more streamlined, check out proposify.biz and sign up for a free 30-day trial. Cheers!